Before I begin, I would like to make aware anyone who's watching or listening, this talk contains sensitive content, so please practice self-care. This is a forbidden story of my mother that I'm sharing for the first time with all of you. Beyond. Going beyond is awakening. This I learned from my mother. My mother is a survivor. At 8 years of age, my mom migrated from Pakistan to India along with her 8 older siblings and her mom and dad, surviving the horrific bloodbath of India's partition in 1947. Coming from abundance, they were reduced to 2 rooms, and my mom's dad could not bear the loss. He passed away soon after. At 22, my mother's mom was seriously ill. So my mom was forced into an arranged marriage. She was malnourished, dehydrated, overworked, and her body was full of bruises, which included bruises like knife cuts, cigarette butt burns, and many more. So she walked out lifeless, and obviously she had a battered soul. Now, keeping in mind, in the 1960s, India, walking out of a marriage was a sin you do not commit, even if it cost you your life. And if you did, you were ostracized by the society straight away. And that's exactly what happened to my mother. She escaped death only to fall into a pit of incessant suffering. My mother walked out of the marriage empty-handed, leaving behind her entire wedding trousseau, her bridal wear, her heirloom jewelry, and a very handsome dowry, and above all, her entire sense of being. But that was not enough. The judgment had been passed. In the eyes of the society, my mother was now tarnished, a tarnished mirror that will never reflect a clear view ever. Misjudged, misconstrued, misunderstood all her life. If my mother spoke up in her defense, she was shameless. And if she didn't, she was shameful. Thankfully, my mother had a secure career, a job that helped her survive in paid accommodations and shared accommodations, which was also quite uncommon at that time, until she saved enough to buy her own home mortgage-free. She befriended her pain, and she made it her purpose. It took her 10 long years to renew her self-worth and to build a new life of her own. At this point, she met my dad. They fell in love, they got married, only to fall into a new set of challenges. Because not only did my mama did not know how to cook, my mother now was a divorcee who was remarrying intercaste, out of her own caste, which really meant that there was a cultural barrier and there was a language barrier. She was also 5 years older than my dad. She was more educated. She earned a higher income, owned her own home. And by now, Mom had actually become a fashionable, progressive, bold, and brazen woman. I know, none of this was trending in the 1970s India. So basically, Mum ticked none of the traditional boxes. She, in fact, disturbed the order of the society. To top that, my dad used to be away on tours for work, years on end, leaving my mother alone with my younger sister and I. Living in Delhi as an all-woman household was like being surrounded or existing between a pack of wolves. This was also a time when women were still dependent on men for their safety, security, and survival. But my mum, she vowed. "Watch me," she said to herself. Trembling, she thought to herself, "I have to get through these storms. One step in front of the other, one step at a time, one day at a time." She took to the battlefield, armless and defenseless. But she wanted to go beyond, and she did. Beyond norms, beyond courage and fear, and definitely beyond gender. Okay. Now, like the TikTok videos, you must be thinking, can we skip to the good part? Yes, we can. Mum, her career was the love of her life. She was a highly regarded public servant, so much so that at one time, the only female prime minister, the one and only, Srimati Indira Gandhi, actually offered my mother a job to become her PA. Mum gracefully had to decline at the time because my sister and I were still young, and it involved days of travel. The other, of course, her other anchor, of course, was us, raising us. So the first thing that she made sure was that we could cook and cook well. Mum made us, I think, very strong. She not only made sure that we were financially independent and self-reliant, but emotionally, she made us quite strong. We went to good schools, private schools, and universities to secure a good career and good education. At the same time, Mum never wanted us to become conceited or have an importance, an air of importance. Instead, she wanted us to live an ambitious but humble life. Of course, my sister conceded. She's an A student and an accomplished banker today. Me, on the other hand, of course, had my mum's rebel streak. So I picked up a career which was still very dominated by men at the time. I became a designer. I also wanted to push the society's expectations of me. What is important here is that Mum took us growing and us blooming as a reward for her going beyond. Going beyond with perseverance and persistence, regardless of people's behavior and circumstances. She kept renewing her vow and kept transforming herself. She kept transforming herself. This takes me to a quote from my mentor. And he says, "A great human revolution in a single individual can change the destiny of an entire nation, and furthermore, the destiny of the whole human race." This was my mom's great human revolution. She's 83 now, still married to my dad. In fact, last month, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. She struggles to see and struggles to hear, struggles with technology, drives us insane, very difficult to please, but does not give up her spirit when it comes to oppose and stand up against the society's redundant norms. This is her legacy to her 4 grandchildren. Everyone, Mom.
Thank you for listening to my story. Thanks.
So this was my mom's beyond. Standing before you today is mine. I hope you find yours. Thank you.